Now, here was something that recently came out by, I think it's just primarily by Cenk Uygur from Young Turks. Sure, any of you who follow the progressive politics of the day, he's probably the biggest out of all of them. You know, the ones with the one with the most name recognition or followers or subscribers, whatever. Um, so he comes out with this plan, in general, just called the Progressive Economic Pledge. Like, okay, there was a guy named Grover Norquist, buffoon that he was. He ended up coming out with this pledge that was just like, hey, just don't increase taxes no matter what. No new taxes. And all these different Republicans came out and signed it. And he ended up being able to tout, oh, hey, look at the hundreds of different people that have signed my pledge. So that elevated him to a point where he was someone important in the Beltway. God knows why. He was a stupid asshole from the jump. But, that was what they cared about the most. It didn't do shit for most people in this country. It only did shit for the business class. So now these things that I'm about to say that are in the pledge that Cenk Uygur's just put out, they're things that all of us have been saying. Now, I'm new in the game, but all the people that have been in there for at least a few years now, the Jimmy Dores, the Kyle Kalinskis, the David Doles, Humanist Reports, all those different people, and especially Cenk Uygur and the Young Turks, all them. They've been saying this for a while, but no one ever decided to put it out as a pledge, put it on paper or in stone, as they say, and actually and make people, read it and possibly sign it or adhere to it. And I might, and I'm not necessarily the biggest fan of Cenk Uygur or the Young Turks, but this is a great idea. And, there's just a couple of things, maybe just one or two things I tweak about it, but outside of that, this is actually great. And, I hope everyone gets behind it, or at least everyone that we care about. Because now it's the presidential election of 2020. So the most important ones you want to get behind it are the Bernie Sanders, Tulsi Gabbard, Elizabeth Warren, maybe any other centrist down the line wants to get behind it. That's great. But, we all know that you're kind of iffy on the trust factors. Let's see if, they would be for real about it. But also any other people that be running for other offices like I am. Like I'm running for the House. Any other people running for the House. This should be something that they all get behind. So I'll go ahead and read some of it. They got 5 pillars, if you will, and all of them good. Like I said, at the end, I'll say the one or two things that I would have tweaked or added. But also, before you get started, there's things, this is not an all-encompassing. This is just, it's centered around economic issues, domestic economic type things. So now things like get out of all the wars, cut the defense spending and stuff like that. You might think, well, yeah, it'll relate to domestic economic issues as well. Yeah, I'd agree. But in a way, that's kind of like a different list, I guess. This is stuff that is directly related to us, U.S. citizens in the working class, that will help us economically, guaranteed. So also on the other end of it, things like, issues around racial justice, women's rights, things like that. Again, that's more on the social issue level. We're talking about purely economic. Now, one of the first pillars is higher wages. It says, I pledge to fight for a $15 minimum wage and collective bargaining and to work on behalf of the American worker instead of corporate donors. Yes! Fucking fine. And that goddamn punchy language, too. I'm not going to work for no fucking corporate donor. It's for you, the American worker, God damn it. So, there. It's pretty short to the point. It's not, I was expecting, like, if you go to that thing that you would, tap on some of these and they would have different, like, things you can go more in depth on. But apparently, no, it's just these things. And it's good that you keep it kind of vague in a way so that it's not, there's no these crazy ironclad restrictions around what you have to believe and, what you can only embrace. So anyway, here we got another one. But anyway, higher wages, $15 at least. At least. This is great. Medicare for all. I pledge to fight for a single-payer Medicare for all healthcare system that transforms healthcare in this country into a right, not a privilege. Perfect. Yeah. I mean, the problem ends up being with something like that, we might have needed more verbiage in there just to ensure that, like, anybody who goes around thinking that the Medicare for some, the Medicare for America, the better deal for this and that sort of, no. It's Medicare for all. Because there's a bill that has actually been put out there by Pramila Jayapal. It's got, I mean, go ahead and read it. I'll even throw a link down there for you. This bill shows you exactly what's going to be covered. All these other bullshit plans, we got no idea. No clue. We can just assume that it's going to be just like Medicare system for 65 and over right now as it is, but they just add a few extra groups of people in. Okay, that's nice, but we want something better. So, anyway, another good one. College for all. I pledge to fight for free college for all so that everyone can get to live the American dream, not just the wealthy elite. Perfect. Again, because now that's giving you the impression that every college is going to be free from now on. No, that's why I would really rather people continue to say tuition-free public college. Seems a bit more wordy than free for all or free college for all. But believe me, it's essential. You're not going to be able to make private institutions go free. And why would we want to subsidize them? We just make sure all the state schools that we already put subsidies into are going to be the ones that are tuition-free. So that then, if the elites want their children to go to wonderful Princeton and Harvard, well, go. Fucking send them there. I don't give a shit. It's your fucking money. You want to piss down the drain? Go right on ahead. Who cares? But the most important part about that is it'll make those schools come down in price. And, but and then above and beyond that, it just makes sure that working class people don't go tens of thousands of dollars in debt. And they get, like it says, it gets everyone the opportunity to live the American dream, not just the wealthy elite. So no, great stuff. Green New Deal. I pledge to fight for a 10-year plan to mobilize every aspect of American society to achieve net zero greenhouse gas emissions and create millions of high-wage jobs, building the infrastructure and industries of the new economy. Okay, very good. Now, but then I don't necessarily think that they or this particular thing has to now go and expound upon and explain to you all the different industries and all the different, infrastructure parts of the new economy. And even sometimes I wouldn't include it as a giant catch-all like the initial Green New Deal resolution was released as. They start throwing all this stuff in and you're like, no. Look, what has to happen, and this is one of the only bugaboos I have with tweaking one of these things, which is this Green New Deal part. You got to put forth all these things as their own legislation. Because, see, now here's the thing. When it comes to the Green New Deal seen through the lens of 30, 40 years in the future, after we've accomplished most or almost all of this stuff, yeah, then it's just like the way it was back in the 30s for FDR. It's all of that stuff, the Social Security, the Peace Corps, or whatever, all the other stuff that he got accomplished, that was all under the envelope of the New Deal. But at the time, he didn't try to throw it all up against the wall and see what stuck. He went by passing each individual thing. And that's what we got to do. We got to pass each individual part. And then at the end, however many years in the future, we'll see it all under the envelope of the Green New Deal. And so, and just briefly, I would say, spelling out what exact infrastructure that we have. Like, I would say the state of Nevada, Also, the state I'm from, California, but I mean, Nevada especially, it's got so much wide open federally owned territory. Oh my God. They can be the main energy state for our entire country. They got solar, I'm sure, up the wazoo. Or the potential to have solar wherever. They've got so many dry lake beds out in the central and northern part of the state where you can have biofuel. Because as we know, all these assholes that are talking about getting rid of airplanes on the conservative media source. Well, you're going to have an answer for that because they're just going to keep saying that shit. And if you keep going, no, I don't think so. You're making it up. Well, they're going to have some kind of leg to stand on until you then go, no, hey, listen, stupid. You see out in Nevada, they got these things called dry lake beds. Well, we take over at least one or two or however many we can. And we're going to make it so that we make biofuel, liquid propulsion energy that's based on a renewable, either algae source or growing other sorts of plants. And that's how we're going to fly jets from now on, not through oil-derived kerosene. That's how it's going to work. We're going to continue. And then maybe one day we get electric jets. Who knows? That's way, way, way out in the future if it's ever going to happen. But you're going to need to replace the fuel source of jet engines and airplanes. And that, almost certainly is going to have to be a bio-derived fuel that'll produce less carbon emissions. And there you go. So those are sorts of things that we have to spell out. Otherwise, you're going to get shitheads on Fox. I mean, they're already going to do this, but they'll have, like I said, they'll have legs to stand on if you don't have good detailed plans that people can hear what you have to say, and then their stupid bullshit, yeah, no, blah, 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 it just isn't going to work, socialism, hippie, commie, Venezuela. That's all they got usually on these things. So, all right. And then their last thing is end the corruption. Yes. I pledge to fight for a constitutional amendment to ban the private finance. And this verbiage is very clear. This is the one I like for the verbiage, because you got to make it like this, because too many assholes you hear out now are, well, let's ban, or let's monitor dark, private, unaccountable. And they'll throw in a bunch of other stupid words, all these type of money that you're like, no, the reason why you're doing all that little fucking, wishy-washy language and like spelling it out like that is because you want a certain kind of money to be bought and paid for, or you want a certain kind of money out there still left so that you will be bought and paid for. And, we're still not going to get private industry out of our elections. We need publicly funded ones. So that's where it goes into. We need to ban the private financing of elections and to use all available paths to that amendment so we can once again have free and fair elections. Now, Jank also is a part of having, I forget what number, the 20-something. The thing is, if you look it up, I forget, again, it's whatever the number we have. I think we have 26, and this would be the 27th, or we have 27 to be 28. Anyway, there's two different ones out. One's the balanced budget one, which, no, it sounds great, but it's really bullshit. And the other one is his, and he founded this group called Wolfpack to try and get it passed. And what that one is it means to have our elections private, or no more private financing of our elections, only public, which would be wonderful. That would get a lot of, and the thing is, you can't insist on the people in power right now ending their own gravy train, because that's one way. And then it'll go to the courts, the Supreme Court, and of course those assholes are bought and paid for too in their own ways. I know no one wants to say that because, you can't possibly say such a thing about the courts. They are. So they'll overrule it and they'll fucking make it so that, no, that's all speech. So the only way to do it is with this constitutional convention where you go to all the states to propose a new amendment to the Constitution. Then once it's proposed, all those same states ratify I think you only have a certain amount of states that have to propose it, and then a bunch, I think it's 3/4, have to ratify in a certain period of time. And yeah, let's hope that gets done. It might be too slow, but that might also be the only genuine way it happens. So now, the one thing that I think is missing is cannabis legalization. Now, that might be seen more on a social issue or, like a justice reform kind of thing. Yeah, but there's so much economic opportunity that will go down the road from rural to urban people, everywhere in between, all different socioeconomic levels. The kind of people that can start small businesses that right now are just languishing, wondering what the fuck are they going to do to provide for their family, or they're working these shit jobs where they know they could be better off. Their mindset could be better put towards some of the possible jobs that'll come from cannabis legalization. So I wish that would have been, I mean, and they want, of course, like everything, they got to have the 5, blah, 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 the 10, this and this and that. That's the way you get people's attention. But really, if it would have been the 6 pillars, I don't think anyone would have given a shit. So that was the one thing I wish they would have added. But as is, still great. I'll be signing it. And I hope everyone else will too. Because, and now, I'm saying I'm signing it. Who fuck gives a shit? I'm just some shithead at this point. Wow, you're signing it. Woo! But anyway. Yeah, get everyone to sign it, and then just keep pressuring the people in power that we need to know. Are you on board with this type of stuff? If not, fucking pound sand, asshole. We're done with people like you.